Welcome to another episode of Best on Tour this week, where we talk about what happened on the water and in the industry in the world of professional bass fishing. I am your host, Matt Pangrac, along with Dave Rush from Best on Tour. And Dave, we had a lot of action on the water this past week across really the entire country.
Absolutely, Matt. Big things happening down at Lake Fork and also on Pickwick, and some stuff happening out west too, man. A lot of bass fishing going on.
We'll start with the mega weights. The Bassmaster Elite Series tackled Lake Fork, one of the unique formats because of the slot on Lake Fork where the anglers can bring their biggest fish as long as it's over the size limit in, but the rest it is a catch, weigh, release, still a 5-fish limit. And the $1 Million Man, half of the duo that won the Bass Pro Shops U.S. Open, that was sponsored by Johnny Morrison Bass Pro Shops 3 years ago. Tucker Smith gets his first Elite Series victory to the tune of 127 pounds, 8 ounces, relying on a trio of baits, primarily an unnamed minnow on a jig head, a 3/4 ounce football jig, and a Bill Lewis scope stick. Triple digits all over the board in this one, Dave.
Yeah, huge weights down at Fork. Koya Fujita was making a strong run at it. First angler to hit the 100-pound mark in 3 days in a 4-day Elite Series competition. Fell off a little bit on the final day, but not too much. Tucker Smith with a huge bag on the final day to secure the victory. Lots to talk about. Tucker Smith did not take him long at all to get it done on the professional level.
All 10 anglers cracked the century mark, with Seth Feider being the only angler over 30 in that top 10. But kind of a cool something we don't see very often happening on the Elite Series. A little flip-flopping at the top of the leaderboard in the last 2 Elite Series events.
Absolutely. For those of you that don't know, Tucker Smith, Paul Marks, roommates on tour along with Emil Wagner. Paul Marks goes first at Hartwell, second at Fork. Tucker Smith goes second at Hartwell, first at Fork. So Emil probably feels like the odd man out right now.
He is. Jay Shakurat, halfway through, a little bit over halfway through the 2025 Bassmaster Elite Series season at 26 years old, currently leading the Angler of the Year. It is a youth movement that continues with Jay at 26 leading the Angler of the Year in the last 2 first-time Elite Series winner, Tucker at 23, and Paul, who is right at 24 years old now, too. So a lot of big weights for young guys over there on Lake Fork.
Pretty cool, man. Some old school baits back in the mix. Shakur doing a little cranking, a little 6XD action, I believe. Some Fork staples playing. So although it was mainly a scope and deal, some old school baits playing as well.
All right, let's head over to Pickwick Lake for the 4th MLF Invitational of the season. The format over there, remember, 1 day with forward-facing sonar, 1 day without, and then they can use it on the final day. Banks Shaw continues his torrid run to lead the MLF Invitationals. He is in the catbird seat to qualify for the 2026 Bass Pro Tour. He wins with 71 pounds, 1 ounces. Another very similar combination to how Tucker got it done on Lake Fork. A little bit different vibe here, though. He threw a minnow on a jig head, a swim bait, and also mixed in a chatterbait to outlast the red hot Jake Lawrence.
Absolutely. Jake Lawrence riding that momentum. You had him on BTL. I mean, he literally left Nick Jack from his BPT win, shows up, has the same baits tied on, practicing, trying to get it done, comes in second here. Cool thing, if you got to watch some of that event, was a lot of the tail race action. We're seeing a lot of tail race action, Red Crest, and now at Pickwick. A lot of famous scenes from Pickwick tournaments past up there in that tail race, and obviously it's still a player.
Don't look now, but we are dangerously close to having the first father-son duo at professional bass fishing, with Marty Robinson's son Marshall already on the Bass Pro Tour, currently sitting in second place in the MLF Invitationals after 4 events. Mitchell Robinson, $145,000 in earnings this year and 747 points. So finish the season strong, and you will have 2 Robinson brothers battling it out on the BPT next year. Also in the mix there, Joseph Webster, Colby Miller in 4th, Dustin Smith, Brody Campbell, Jacob Walker, Bobby Lane already on it in 8th, Chad Mrazek in 9th, and Ethan Green rounding out the top 10 in the Angler of the Year for the MLF Invitationals.
James River next for those guys. Different fishery, but I would expect those guys to keep the momentum rolling. All of them are performing well and making a stand and a play to be on the BPT in 2026.
All right, let's head out west. Billy Egan had his one bass tour on Lake Havasu for the Lake Havasu Open in Arizona. Little throwback here. Roy Hawk, who calls Lake Havasu City home, cranks and chatterbaits his way to another victory and the second in as many years on Lake Havasu. Boat and motor plus cash to go with it. 54.62 pounds cranked a Little John, cranked a Fat Papa, through a jackhammer sum as well, keyed on fish that were on points relating to structure, and really one of the few kind of old school wins that we've seen on tour this year by a guy who relied on history for what he called sneaky fish.
Yeah, heading into that final day, Roy Hawk and Justin Kerr were sitting 1-2. Kerr fell down the leaderboard a little bit, but two names synonymous with the One Bass Tour and Big Sticks out west. But Roy Hawk getting it done, and man, you might be able to say he's the king of Lake Havasu for sure.
All right, industry news celebrating an anniversary this week, Dave.
Yeah, pretty interesting. It is the 20th anniversary of the Elastec plastic by Z-Man. I mean, you kind of think about it, time flies. 20 years ago, that was developed. For you, those of you that don't know, Z-Man was kind of started as a plastic business. Made skirt material, things of that nature. Been fortunate enough to spend some time over there at the plant. And their business, as it's pretty close to me, and done some documentary work with them in the past. So got the full rundown of the history, but 20 years since the innovation and the release development of the Elastec plastic, which has become a staple in a lot of different techniques in the fishing industry for sure.
Become a better angler, get behind the scenes of the top fishing tours, learn the business side of the fishing industry and how to get sponsorship. The Best on Tour newsletter brings you all that once a week. It is completely free. Comes straight to your email. You can sign up at bestontour.net. And Dave, we have more Elite Series action to look forward to this week on the Sabine River.
We do. The Sabine River kicks off on Thursday. Always an interesting tournament, filled with strategy. One kicker bite goes a long way. Going to be interesting to see how those guys play it out. But for our loyal listeners here, I'm going to do something special next week. We have got a load of Best on Tour merchandise. Not going to put Matt on the hook for some BTL merch, but got a lot of Best on Tour merchandise. So go sign up, bestontour.net, starting today. Going to check out the new subscribers who signed up from today's date until next week's show, and I'm going to pick one lucky subscriber. Going to give you a cool prize pack with a bunch of BOT merch. Be headed your way.
We'll see you next week. This has been another edition of Best on Tour this week, presented by bestontour.net.